Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and today we're just going to have some random fun. I have the neon colors from Let's Resin. I have titanium resin tint max from Elichem resins, and I have some pigment powder from Recollections, and this is bronze. And what we're going to do is a little bit of an experiment. I happen to use some polyurethane resin and mixed in some of this bronze and made a very cool pot. I want to call it that. Call it a pot. And I wanted to recreate it, and I did, but I didn't use any white. I used regular resin. I put my bronze in, and then I had these colors, every one of the neon colors in the piece I was doing. But because I had no white, it made the piece not look the way it was supposed to. So this is a piece I did, regular resin, without any white in it, but I used the bronze and it had the neon colors on it. But as you can see from this picture, the bronze took over. And I went, oh, you know, Natalie, if you thought about that, you were using a polyurethane that went white, so it, you know, took away the dark of the bronze mica powder you were using and created a really nice effect. So what we're going to do is we are going to try out my theory. I don't have enough of the polyurethane to do the piece, so I want to make sure that when I'm using my 2-part epoxy resin that I get it white first, throw in some of the bronze, and then see if I can't get the effect. Because what happened with the one piece I made that worked the way I wanted it to, or actually it was an accident that it came out as nice as it did, was like I put my neons down and then the polyurethane with the bronze. I mean, it made it look grungy, but in a really cool way. What we're going to do, you're going to watch, I'm going to do, is I am just going to randomly put every one of these neon colors in this. I'm just going to randomly put it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix up our resin. We're going to make it white. And then I'm going to put in some of the bronze, and then we're going to pour it in here. And when it's done, fingers crossed, it's going to come out the way I want to. Because I want to know that I can do this using regular resin and just making sure I put white in it so I get the color I want. Because white by itself would have given it a nice sort of pastel-y look, but I really like the grunge look I got in the piece I had done. So like I said, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take every color. There's 12 of them, right? 12? 4, 8, 12. Yeah, my math sucks, so if you look at something and go, Natalie, it's just this, fair enough. I have to think about math. I'm not good at it at all. And I'm okay with that, because there are other things I excel at. So I laugh, and I don't care that I'm not good at math. So I'm just using this regular makeup brush, and I'm just, like I say, I'm just randomly putting these colors in. I don't really care what order they go in. I don't care if my Dragonfly sort of matches. I just want to have some fun with this and see if I can't get the color the way I want to. So we'll just take each color, and I'm not going to sit and let you watch me go do each color, but we're just going to play. And again, you know how I like to play. And I thought it was time to get away from the whole seriousness of sealers and colorants, and I thought we could just play on this one. So we'll just, as I say, I just take one color, I put it in, and I am sometimes wiping my brush off so that I don't mix up or get some of the other colors in. So we're just, and if it flies around and it lands where it lands, like I say, I am totally cool with this, because like I said, the other piece came out really neat. I was really quite excited about it too, because it was sort of one of those, ooh, you know, it's one of those happy little accidents, or one of those happy little, well, let's just see what happens, and then it comes out really cool, like, and you go, ooh, I gotta do this again, and then you do it again. But if you don't for me, it's if I don't really think about it, and I didn't when I did the one using the 2-part epoxy. I didn't think about the white. I gave no consideration to the white whatsoever. And as you can tell, I, paid the price for that because I didn't waste my resin. And it was, again, it was another one of those really good. Okay, so you know what not to do again. And if I learn that way, then, so be it. It's just, yeah, sometimes you gotta, maybe, I like to know I'm thinking, but sometimes I just, I don't get it right. And that's okay. And that's one of those give yourself a break kind of things and whatnot. So, and I don't care if my colors sort of blend together. It was kind of cool when it happened. And if I end up that I don't have my Dragonfly all covered, then I'll just start back at square one and do it again. So I'm just going to carry on doing this. And when I have it all done, I will come back so you can see how it looks before we move on. All right, we are back. I have filled in my Dragonfly. I have mixed up my white resin, and I think I've got pretty opaque, which is what I want. Will I get it to the, sort of the whiteness of what polyurethane is? Yeah, probably not, but that's okay. So I thought I'd show you the Dragonfly with all its magical, it almost reminds me of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor coat. So that is what we look like. I've got every color in there. Some have hit more spots than others, but that's okay. And this takes approximately 60 mils of resin. I don't know if I would ever use mix to mold in something like this, only because I'm not sure about the antennas. And I mean, I would definitely let it sit overnight. There'd be absolutely no way I would take this out after an hour. There's no way. It might be okay, and I guess that's something at some point I can see about doing. I did pat it out to get rid of some of the excess that was in there, but it looks pretty cool, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some of our bronze and we're going to put it in here. I'm going to kind of do it carefully because I don't want to get too much of the bronze in it. So we'll just take about that much for now. And we'll see. It was interesting because I think I used about, when I did the piece the other day, it took 140 mils of, 140 mils of resin. I had made up 100. I wasn't 100% sure how much I needed. And then I probably put 2 scoops of this bronze in with the polyurethane. I mixed it in part B first and then mixed it all up. And it created sort of a, well, sort of something like the color I'm getting right now, which is good. And you just don't know what's in these products because it heated up quite a bit. And I know with some products that when you're using polyurethane, you gotta be really careful what you put into them because they will, it'll heat up, it'll have a really interesting chemical reaction. And I thought, this is a powder. Like, it makes me wonder what all is the ingredients that they put in some of these things that, I mean, it got hot. It got hot. So I wonder what they got going on with some of these products and what's in them. And I had Amazon every once in a while sends me a question that someone has about a product that I've previously bought, and I guess they're looking at buying. And the question was in regards to the J. Diction Resincrete pigment and whether or not it had alcohol in it. And I thought, I haven't responded, but I thought to myself, I have no idea what's gone in because it doesn't tell you what the ingredients are in it. So I don't know if it has alcohol in it or not. And I guess in some ways it'd be kind of helpful to know what the ingredients were. So you kind of went, oh, okay, no, I'm going to put a little bit more in here. no, I shouldn't be putting that in this because of how it's, you know, the potential of how it's going to react. So yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it's got a label on it and it says the color and who it's for and what's it for, and that's it. So I don't, it's like, I don't know. That's an honest answer. I don't know. Okay, so this, you know, I'm guessing this is going to react a little bit different to what it did in the polyurethane, sort of from a color perspective. But at least it's not the dark that I got. I can't believe I did that. But hey, I do it so you don't have to. I just want to make sure I get that mixed in really well. And I might put just a tiny little bit more in. Again, you can always add, you can't take away. There, that's all I'm going to put in. That's it. I'm closing up the container because, you know, if I don't, I might put more in and I don't want to do that. So this will take 24 hours to cure because it's the Let's Resin 2-part epoxy I'm using. And it was interesting because I can now get, if I want, the Let's Resin polyurethane here in Canada on Amazon.ca. So there's a part of me that's kind of thinking about doing that sometime this summer because I'd really like to try it out. And I think I figured it out before taxes, and I've got Prime so I don't pay for shipping, that it would be $2 an ounce. And I did a quick comparison with the Alumilite, which I get at Michael's, and it was about $2.18 an ounce. And that's without a discount. I know we can get discounts at Michael's. That's without any kind of discount on it. Okay, so this is kind of turned sort of grayish, but that's okay. That's kind of what it did with the polyurethane. Okay, I'll just stir this a couple more times. There we go. We'll just leave it at that. And now I'm very carefully going to pour this into my mold, which I'm going to pull closer to me so I can do this. And I'm going to do it very, very carefully because I really want to make sure I get it right up into the antennas there. So let's just very carefully pour this. And get it going down all the places. It almost looks like a really, well, it's a grunge color, isn't it? White with the copper in it. White with the copper. So we'll just do this up into the wings. I'll probably end up banging it around just a little bit so that we can, I don't want air bubbles in this puppy. So I'm just going to do a little bit, get it up into everywhere. And then probably bang it around a little bit. So let's see if I can I'm going to have to do it very carefully, get it up into the antennas. Maybe I can do this carefully and not spill. I mean, that's kind of one of the nice things about resin. If you get it, you can get it going slow enough. You don't get it everywhere. And then I like the fact that you can pull the resin and it'll kind of go where you want it to go, right? And then once it starts flowing, that's the beautiful thing about it. That's the beautiful thing about it. And I'm trying to be very careful if I'm touching the bottom because I don't want to displace the mica powder. Okay. Let's get a little bit more of this poured. I'll put this back. I should put this back in my right hand, right? Oh, wow. Yeah, I thought it was time to do something A little different than what I've been doing. As I said, I've been on a bit of an obsession with the mixed mold and trying to figure out what to seal things with, and we gotta let's just have some fun. Let's just do something. And I got some new molds from Resin. I got them off of Amazon.com, and so we're gonna have to get around to doing those. Now it's kind of fun because it's pulling up the neon colors from below, so that's kind of cool. Let's get this all over into all the corners. Some more up into the antennas. Yikes. Yikes. I don't like dead air. I don't know what to talk about because I'm being so careful with doing this that I don't want to. Yeah, I seriously have to learn how to get rid of the dead air. But and then if I clip stuff though, then you can't see what I'm doing, and it'd be like, okay, well, she's jumping from here to here. Why is she doing that? Oh, the fun of videos. I did learn how to, what was it I learned how to do the other day? Oh, what was it? Oh, cropping. Because the camera panned out too much, and I didn't like some of what you would have seen, so I cropped it. So I did learn something new. Oh, that was kind of cool. Every once in a while, you gotta learn something new, right? Okay, that's all my resin. And it looks grungy, doesn't it? And that's okay. Because, fingers crossed, if I'm lucky, this will come out similar to what it did with the polyurethane. And if it doesn't, well, then I'm just going to have to get more polyurethane in to get the look I'm going for in general, right? I want to try and get a little bit more up into those antennas. And it was interesting. I'm not one for using alcohol, spraying alcohol on my molds, because a lot of people have said don't do it because it will dry out your molds. I did a turtle. I used my alcohol, my spritzed alcohol on it just so I could get rid of air bubbles in it. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to have to let this sit. And I probably could have done a bit more. Not a lot more resin, but I think I probably could have gone a little bit more with the resin. But at least I've got it everywhere. Right? And it is. That's an ugly color, isn't it? Eek. Anyway, that's okay. I'm going to let this sit and for a little bit, and then I'll pop any more air bubbles that come up. And then we will see if my experiment and how I'm hoping this turns out the way it did with the polyurethane. And as I say, if it doesn't, then I know I'm going to have to get this look, I'm going to have to use polyurethane instead of doing what I've done in this scenario. But at least it's a test to see if I get the look I want. That's where we're doing. Anyway, I am going to let you go. We will come back in 24 hours and we'll see how this turned out. I look forward to unveiling this with you. See you in a bit. It is the next day and we are ready to take our Dragonfly out of the mold. I'm going to be really careful with it because of the antennas. I expect this to be set, but I also figure that it's probably still going to be a little soft. So let's just work on getting this out. Pulled away. Always a little nerve-wracking doing this on camera because you really don't want anything to get messed up as you're doing it. But I've had pieces fall apart before, so that's okay. This is resin though. I'm not expecting that to happen. If it were mixed to mold, ooh, I'd be very, very gentle. Again, I know it hardens up really well, but it's when you got those small little pieces, eh? That's when it gets a little dicey. And I really don't want to even mess this up from a resin perspective. So we'll just carefully pull these out. This is when patience is imperative. There we go. Alrighty. Almost there, almost there, almost there, almost there. There we go. And there we have what I'd like to refer to as my grunge dragonfly. Now I do have some air bubbles in it. I'm just going to place it down, and I'm probably going to get a piece of black paper next to it. It is going to have to sit a little longer. I am just wanting to look at my mold, and there are, yeah, those are indents. I was looking at it going, are these all air bubbles? But no, excuse me, they were actually part of the mold itself. So let's get a piece of black paper out and put it under. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was going for. As you'd seen when I had done my heart, because there was no white in that, I mean, it came out really dark. This is kind of what I was going for. Is it a little darker? Yeah, it is a little darker, but I just love the feel of it. I like that it's not, I like bright and cheery things, absolutely I do. But when I had done the other piece and saw sort of how the colors played with the bronze being in it, I think that looks really cool. I like the coloring. I like the coloring a lot. And I like knowing that if I put white and then a darker color in, I will have better success with what I'm attempting to do. Anyway, I'm going to let that guy sit for a few days and then figure out, I'm going to see about getting some small little hooks for the back of things like this so I can hang them up. And if I can reach very carefully, I have something I want to show you, because I did another one of my, just give me a moment, another one of my sons. So we had seen this piece done, and I made the sun and I put it in the center. I love the sun. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyway, a little bit of show and tell, but we will let that sit. I'll find something to put on the back of it and then decide where I want to display it. But yeah, that's a way of taking some colors, and if you want them to kind of come out darker, yeah, put a dark color in, but also include white, or it'll just get too dark and you'll lose this. So I hope you found that interesting and fun and helpful. And I'm just wondering if you'll start making pieces like this, or you'll take something that you've kind of been wanting, that you've got that's, and the grunge sort of comment, again, referring back to Tim Holtz, because he talks about grunge when he's doing his cards and whatnot. And, you know, it's amazing how good that stuff looks. I mean, I like pretty and fancy and frilly too, but this kind of stuff really catches my attention as well, because it's a little different. And the term grunge, although it may sound kind of harsh, I don't really think it is when you're talking about something as beautiful as this. Anyway, thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting. I appreciate all of it. And I'll be curious to know if you decide to do something like this in the near future with a mold you have that you've kind of wondered, well, how can I jazz this up a little bit? Well, here's a potentially new way of you doing that. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Have a great day. Take care, and bye for now.